Okay, get this. What if I told you there's a real world, honest to goodness treasure hunt happening right now? And the prize? Well, the prize is big enough to change anyone's life. This isn't some movie plot. It's a massive digital challenge, hiding right out in the open, with a prize pool that is just staggering. Yep, you heard that right. Over $85 million in Bitcoin. And it's all just sitting there in a bunch of digital wallets that anyone can see on the blockchain. It's just waiting for someone, anyone, to figure out the password and unlock it. So you have to be wondering, right? How can that much money just be sitting there, out in the open for everyone to see? Why hasn't someone just grabbed it all by now? Well, that, my friends, is where this story gets really, really interesting. All right, so let's dive in and really unpack how this whole thing even got started. To understand this puzzle, you have to go back to the beginning, because it was all set up in a very specific and very intentional way.
First off, this isn't some new thing that just popped up. This puzzle was created all the way back in 2015, and since then, whoever is behind this has been upping the ante, even jacking up the rewards 10 times over in 2023. And don't think this is some old forgotten project. No way. The hunt is very much on, with some of the really valuable puzzles getting solved as recently as September of 2024.
So why? Why would someone do this? Well, the creator's own words are what make this so wild. This isn't just about giving away money. They said it was an experiment, a test, really, to measure the raw brain power and computing power of the entire crypto world. It's basically a live stress test, asking one huge question. Can a Bitcoin key that's been made weaker on purpose actually be cracked by the public? Okay, now let's get into the heart of how this puzzle actually works. The map to this treasure isn't made of paper. It's a mathematical idea called a key space. And if you want to crack the code, you've got to understand what that means. So look, the whole thing starts off deceptively simple. The very first puzzle had only 2 possible keys you had to check. Easy. The second had 4. No problem. But then, the difficulty just explodes. By the time you get to puzzle number 66, you're not looking for 4 keys. You're looking for 1 key out of 73 quintillion. And the final puzzle, number 160, the scale is just mind-bending. So what even is a key space? The easiest way to think about it is like a lottery. A normal Bitcoin address has a key space so big, it's like a lottery with more tickets than there are atoms in the universe. You're never, ever going to guess the winner. But what the creator did here is they made a special lottery with way fewer tickets. Now, fewer is relative. We're still talking insane numbers, but it's just small enough that it's actually possible to solve. In theory, at least. And that brings us to the main event. Because saying something is solvable in theory is one thing. Actually doing it, well, that's a whole different story. This is where you see the mind-boggling scale of what these treasure hunters are up against. Let's just take a look at the easiest puzzle that's still out there waiting to be solved. Puzzle number 71. The prize for cracking this single puzzle is right around $480,000. That's life-changing money for finding just 1 digital key. But, and it's a big but, to claim that prize, you have to search through this many possible keys. Yeah, that's 2.36 sextillion. It's a number so huge, our brains just aren't built to understand it. It honestly doesn't even feel real. To try and put a number like that in perspective, let's look at puzzle #66, one of the ones that was just solved. If you took a really powerful top-of-the-line computer and just set it to work checking keys, it would take you about 2,000 years. Your computer would need more than 25 human lifetimes to check every possibility. So how on earth is anybody solving these things? Well, they've basically built a digital arsenal. You've got brute forcing with powerful GPUs, which is like an army of computers guessing nonstop. Then you have smarter, more elegant tools like special algorithms. But the real game changer is teamwork. People form these massive computing pools, linking thousands of computers together from all over the world, all to chip away at these impossible numbers. But here's where this whole thing goes from a quiet computer science problem to a straight-up thriller. Because the moment someone actually finds a key, a brand new high-stakes race begins. And this part of the story is all about real human drama and even digital heists. You see, finding the key is only half the battle. When you make a Bitcoin transaction, it doesn't go through instantly. It sits in a public waiting area called the mempool, where everyone can see it. And guess who's always watching that waiting room? Predatory bots. Digital sharks, just waiting for someone to show their winning lottery ticket so they can try and steal it.
And I'm not just making this up, it actually happened. When puzzle hashtag 66 got solved, a bot saw the winning transaction pop up. It instantly copied the solution, made its own transaction with a higher fee to cut in line, and managed to siphon off a nice chunk of the prize before the original solver could get it. Imagine spending all that time and energy just to have someone snatch part of your winnings at the finish line.
But of course, the community is smart. They adapt. It's turned into this fascinating game of cat and mouse. Now, solvers are using these special private services to try and sneak their transaction through without the bot seeing it, trying to get their prize out of the maze before anyone else even knows it's been found.
And all of this, it brings us to the final and maybe the biggest mystery of them all. After all these years, all the money, all the drama, who? Who is the architect behind this entire thing? You know, people have all sorts of theories. Maybe it's a security expert running a very, very expensive demonstration of how tough Bitcoin is. Or maybe it's some super rich early adopter who just wants to create a cool challenge for the community. Some people think it's just an elaborate game. And a few even think it could be a bizarre new form of digital performance.
What we do know is that they're still out there. This isn't some abandoned project. The creator is still watching. Every now and then, they'll add more money to the prizes or make the puzzles even harder, just to show they're still engaged, still pulling the strings from behind the curtain.
So in the end, what are we really looking at here with this $85 million hunt? Is it just the world's hardest puzzle? A really intense cryptography test? Or could it be something totally new? A type of performance art where the blockchain is the canvas and thousands of code breakers are the players? We don't really know, but one thing is for sure, the hunt is still on.